All right, guys, stop me if you heard this one. But have you ever heard a story about a dude that started out with like a little red paperclip and traded it and kept trading until he had a house? It's a true story, and we're going to talk about that and a couple other successful trade stories on this week's Tuesday Morning Tech Tip from Pugliese Speed Shop. Yo, I'm not even kidding. It's a true story. This guy started off with a paperclip. He traded that for a pen. He traded that for some fancy doorknob. And then I think it was like a Coleman stove, like a camp stove. And then like a generator, I think. And then a beer keg, or maybe that was vice versa. It went on and on. This was like 2005 up in Canada. This guy did this. And next thing you know, it got wild. There was like recording contracts and like hanging out with Alice Cooper or something. It was all this wild like coupons this guy got. But there was like 14 trades he made. And next thing you know, this guy's got a 2-story house. So as far as I'm concerned, he won. That's like the certificate of completion for horse trading, you know? And I bring that story up because that is how we got our 1989 Suburban. By the way, I said in the last video, it was a G1500. I'm an idiot. It's an R1500. Letters are hard, guys. But, so that's how we got it, right? And it's kind of, now amongst car guys, horse trading is nothing new, right? This has gone on back in the day, you got like motor, whatever. You would just trade parts because a lot of guys need parts more than they need money. That's just how that goes. And I mean, I guess, times have changed, but have they? Because it ain't no different. It's kind of funny because most people, if you have something for sale, they're like, well, hey, I'll trade you this. You're like, people will be like, what? Like, I specifically remember the first time I traded something, guys. I had my jet boat listed for sale because I'm not a boat guy, all right? I was tired of that thing, put it on the old Craigslist, and somebody hit me up and said, would you like to trade for a 74 Harley Davidson Shovelhead? What do you guys think I did? Right? That was the first time, and I was a little taken back, a little nervous. But, guys, after that, game on.
Okay, game on! Game on! Game on!
So, could you guys imagine? Well, most of you guys watching this probably can imagine because you've probably done it like 100 times, right? But for me, I've heard the stories of the old timers and all that, but never was I presented with that kind of opportunity. So it kind of opened my eyes and really changed the game for me quite a bit, right? So, when the guy hits me up, hey, you want this Harley? And I'm like, well, there's a problem for a couple things. One, I didn't know anything about Harleys. I was a crotch rocket dude. So I had never traded anything, so I was a little nervous there too. But I hit up my buddy Jay, who was a Harley guy and would trade anything in the world. And he took a look at everything and said, yeah, dude, make the trade. I did, and so that was 2009. It's 2024, and bike's still here, right? So don't worry about how long it's been back there on the lift and how. Don't worry about any of that, all right? I still stand by my decision. So shortly after that, I had a 35 Ford pickup, and it was a basket case, guys. It was a bucket of parts. I wanted to build a rat rod truck out of it, which I clearly still want to do because I got rid of this one. But again, don't worry about that. So I put it for sale because I think I was going on deployment. It's usually I'm going on deployment. It's usually what we're going on. But either way, I had it for sale. And buddy of mine hits me up. You want to trade for this crotch rocket? It was like a '03 Ninja 636. And, well, yeah, because I lived in California at the time, and I had a Chevy dually that wasn't great on gas. And okay, let's do it. So we traded, and guys, I rode that bike. I had to put 30,000 miles on that motorcycle on a crotch rocket, dude. Can you imagine? So cool, right? This is working out for me, right? Well, like you said, I got rid of the boat, and then I had a 2-car trailer that I had sold. And I still got that dually, right? And I said, I don't need this dually if I don't even have a trailer. So I threw it on Craigslist, and I wasn't getting a whole lot of bites, right? So I was living in the barracks at the time up in Lemoore. So whenever when I wasn't working, I'm in my room on my phone, looking, scouring Craigslist, looking at anything I think is halfway cool. Hey man, you want to trade? Hey man, you want to trade? And I got a lot of, beat it, dude. But I eventually found a guy, right? And he had a 93 Jeep Wrangler, right? The last of the Wranglers, if you ask me, the YJ. And it was a 4.0 with a 5-speed, lifted on 33 mud terrains. It was rhino lined inside. It was just cool, right? Drove great. So I was like, this is awesome. I'm killing it. Well, then I took it to get smogged. If you guys live in California, you know about living in California. Smog's a real thing, and not a good one. So, aside of what the environmentalists might tell you. Anyways, so I said, man, all right, I'll figure this out. And I go on deployment, and while I'm on deployment, I do what you do on deployment. I just start buying stuff for this Jeep, right? Because that's what you do with Jeeps. You just throw parts at them. So I get off of deployment, and somewhere in that time frame, I fell out of love with this Jeep. And I was about to put it for sale. We're in the garage, painting the garage, this house we just moved into, and Megan's, we're taking a break, and Megan's like, hey, look at this. And she shows me this car. 23 Model T. It was, cut up little rat rod bucket, whatever you want to call it, small block Chevy, all the cool stuff. Said on the bottom, we'll trade for Jeep. Well, let's see if we got ourselves a deal. Hit the guy up, send a picture of Jeep. He loves it, and he delivers the hot rod down to the house. And I'm like, killing it again, guys, right? So we offload it. We're checking out. The kid thinks it's super cool. He's loving it. We run around it a little bit. Well, I quickly realized 2 things. Number one, I had traded myself out of a daily driver. And probably actually most importantly is I don't fit in a Model T. So now we have ourselves a problem. I put it for sale, and guy hits me up. Absolutely loves it. He was a teacher at like a VOTech school, and he wanted to use that as a project to finish it, And but he's like, hey, I don't got all the asking money. Truth of the matter is, I wasn't expecting all the asking money, but funny thing is, he had what I was really thinking I'd get for the car, and then he throws me, he's like, I got some other stuff too, what would you like? Wait, what? So I end up with I think it was an 81 Yamaha XS 650. It was a cafe racer that they had built up in his class, blown it apart, painted it, and never put back together. And he's like, yeah, nobody's interested in it anymore. So I said, okay, I'll take it. So now I got all the money I wanted and a new project. Well, I already had 2 motorcycles, and I probably didn't think I needed a third. And I wanted all the money I could get for a new daily driver. So I throw that on Craigslist. And the guy comes and gives me like another $2,000 for it. I'm like, yo, this is awesome, right? That's when I went and bought the 65 C10, and you guys know the rest of that story. But that brings us to here, because that was the last time I had done that. And it's a lot of fun. It's you ups and downs, and you never know what you're gonna get. And it's all this like, I really had a good time with it. I honestly did. It was I probably had more fun doing all that kind of stuff than I did messing with some of those cars. But I hadn't done it for a while. I've tried a few times, and it just never panned out. So when and I know some guys were not happy to see the green 65 go, but the truth of it is, I got the other one sitting in the corner, which is the one I love and I want to build. And the one that was sitting outside, I actually bought for parts, right? I made a good friend in the process when I met John Boy and everything, so that was great. But I was looking at buying that just for the frame because I thought my frame was messed up. And after I had looked at it, decided it's not. That truck had a clean title and stuff on it, so somebody needed to save it. I was thinking about what I was going to do to it. Luckily, we found somebody that wants to do all the same kind of stuff and doesn't have a million other projects in the major projects. So, it is what it is there. But he got something he's super happy with, and I got my first square body, so not a bad deal. And this one, as you guys saw in the last video, it runs, it drives, it stops, it does all the things, right? So, cool. I think it's a huge come up, and I'm excited about it because, guys, for me, I know a lot of people have a lot of the same car, like Dan over there at DSP shop. He's got 68 or 67, however many Tri-5s he's got now, right? And every one of them's a little different, and that's awesome. I don't know that I can do that. Because I kept thinking, just had 265 C10s, and I'm like, okay, I want to do this. I'm like, ooh, that'd be cool in this one too. Then the next thing you know, I'm building the exact same truck. So maybe that's not for me. That's why I need different stuff. And I think this is a great way to, I've always liked square bodies. I am more of a truck guy. I'm not a huge SUV guy, and this is a huge SUV, right? But got some ideas. So some of the things I was concerned with doing the trade was, is it going to be everything? And and you get that every time you go look at a new vehicle. You get all the way there, and you're like, this ain't it. I actually did a tech tip. Me and Megan drove down to Virginia Beach to look at a C10. Left empty-handed. We made a friend that day, so that was good. But it's not always what it is. So my problem, I was like, do I want to load this thing out and go trade it? And then I was also concerned, hey, what if this thing looks better in pictures than it does in person? This guy comes down and he don't like it. He's pissed off. And luckily, none of that happened. So I would say if you're going to do this kind of stuff, be as open and honest as possible. I mean, honest, you should always be, but even more so in this case because it's you're taking a gamble, right? I was concerned because, like I said, I'm not a huge SUV guy. And I was like, do I really want this? Now, I told you Kevin was in love with it. And actually, he's been texting me, hey, you fall in love with it yet? We're getting there. All right. And I do got some really good ideas that I think they're great ideas of what I want to do this thing. And I keep looking at it because that's kind of that's my process. I got to keep looking. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it's obviously I think it was a good deal. It's got a strong drivetrain. I mean, it's got a little, tiny bit of rust from what I saw. So on the upcoming episodes, probably Friday, if you guys go ahead and tune in, we're going to go through this thing. We're going to get underneath it. We're going to see what we're working with and maybe try and knock out some of the quick fixes right away and see what we're working with. But that being said, I'm not saying that I wouldn't just turn around and swap this thing. If somebody came up with something I wanted more, I don't. Maybe I should stop. Maybe I should actually do some work on this thing first and then decide. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, I'm gonna do some work on this thing and make sure you guys come back on Friday. Check it out. Thanks for watching, guys.